Hey, well, again, Happy New Year's, everyone. This is one of the first things that you're hearing from They Live by Film in 2023. And so I'm extremely excited to be able to talk to Jared and Jesse, who y'all know separately. But for the purposes of today, we're going to be talking about their endeavor with Neon Eagle. So y'all, thank you so much for joining.
Glad
Thanks
to
for
be here.
having us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So before we dive in too much, there was a burning question that I had that it was just making me smile when I heard Neon Eagle announced. It's not like y'all are just sitting around on a given day with nothing to do. So the big burning question is, why would two of the busiest people in the entertainment industry make a new label?
Well, obviously, we're not quite busy enough.
I doubt that.
I think Jesse was really bored. Jesse had nothing going on at all, and was basically begging me for something to do. No, of course not. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, Jesse can speak for himself, but I think it was it's just something that sort of came up, and it was a kind of a cool idea. We just all sort of agreed that it was something to do.
Yeah, it was kind of, I guess the genesis of it was that Jared was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this with me?" And we were like, "That's funny that you say that because we have something that's perfect for this too." And it just kind of went from there.
I love
it. It was very sort of very natural flow. I mean, honestly, I think it just started. I mean, Jesse and I kind of talk a lot by email and text about things, and I think we were just talking about the idea of doing Asian movies, just sort of in general. And I had a movie. I had basically made a deal for a movie for Kill Butterfly Kill, the first thing we've got coming out. And I had put it to, it was going to be a Mondo Macabro project, because of course, as your listeners probably know, I work for Mondo Macabro. That's my day job. And long story short is Pete Toombs, the guy who runs Mondo Macabro, essentially rejected it because he thought it would be too much work.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we got a nice 4K master, but the elements were from less than pristine, were kept less than pristine circumstances for a long time. So it was going to require a lot of work. But I had made the deal. I loved the movie. I was just sort of thinking, well, maybe I can figure out a way to put it out myself. I was actually thinking about going to OCN, Vinegar Syndrome's thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I just, like I said, in the course of just having a conversation with Jesse, I just brought it up. I said, hey, I've got this movie. What do you think? I mean, Cauldron was just getting started at that time.
Yeah.
I think maybe Jesse, you'd only done maybe your first two releases at that point. Maybe.
Yeah, this has been a while in the queue because Kill Butterfly Kill needed some work, and there's literally 3 cuts of the movie on there.
Yeah. The third person involved in this who's not here because he's way too busy.
Yes.
He was literally too busy to come in and join this podcast. Yeah, he busted his ass doing, I mean, basically worked for almost 2 years getting the two cuts in HD into shape. And
just, that's an interesting point. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to ask about, because so this has Kill Butterfly Kill is the movie that you're referencing, and it has another cut which has some significant differences, right? Which goes under the title American Commando 6.
Yeah, so this gets very confusing for even people who are, super well versed in this stuff, for sure. So this movie started its life as a movie in Taiwan called Underground Wife, or at least that was the English title for it. It's the title actually does roughly translate in Mandarin to something sort of like that, but it's known as Underground Wife. And so about a year into its life, in like 1982 or 1983, it was purchased by IFD Films, who, I mean, some of you may know of. They did like the all the Godfrey Ho cut and paste movies and stuff, right? The ninja movies and whatnot with Richard Harrison and blah blah blah. So, but what they were mostly doing before they started doing those cut and paste movies was just purchasing the rights to movies from all over Asia, but particularly Taiwan at that time, and just outfitting them for international sales. Usually it meant giving them an English dub. In this case, it meant giving it an English dub and slightly editing it. And so that's the kind of the version that's highlighted in our release. That's Kill Butterfly Kill. That's the title they gave it for. It's for international distribution, mostly like VHS distribution, although I don't think it was ever released in the US. This is actually the first time this movie has ever been released in the US. So, and to make a long story even longer, a few years after that version comes out, then they give it the patented IFD cut and paste treatment, which is they take the movie and remove about a half an hour, 40 minutes of it, and replace that with footage of mostly really bad white actors. Just to be blunt about it, like Mike Abbott. Not to say that Mike Abbott is a bad actor, but he's got a certain charm.
Sure.
And people who know these movies know who I'm talking about, and he's got a very famous face that you'll never forget.
Sure.
And then put it out. It was part of a whole series of movies called the American Commando series, or alternately Advent Commando.
Okay.
Oh, is that true? What does that mean?
I have no clue. I have no idea. Nobody.
Was there 25 of them, and every day you got to watch a different one until Christmas?
There were a bunch of them. In fact, it seems like it was either it was American Commando or Advent Commando for this series. No idea where that comes from. We went with American Commando just because it shouldn't be any more confusing than it already is, I think, for people.
And the screenplay for that consists of a lot of use of motherfucker.
Yes.
Copious amounts.
It's said a lot and with exuberance.
Yes, yeah.
I wonder, so I heard an interesting thing on a podcast I was listening to. The name Mike Leader. I'm sure you'll know that name.
Yes, I know the name.
He does a lot of like kind of Hong Kong commentaries, and he's been a producer in kind of Hong Kong. Okay, yeah. So he said there's a really interesting rule with what's the word? Profanity in Hong Kong, and I don't know if this would go over to Taiwan as well, but you cannot cuss in the native tongue, but you can cuss as much as you want in English. And he said it was funny. So I don't know if that's why, but he said that there was this problem in the 90s when in the whole Cat 3 kind of boom, like the 80s and the 90s, where there would be movies where kids would be watching them, or video games, especially video games, where kids would be playing them, and they would walk in the room and they'd be like, motherfucker, like, and the parents were like, I'm sorry, what? But like they got past the censors.
Oh, that's really funny. I'd never heard that there was sort of language strictures for Hong Kong cinema.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's why. Because for a long time I thought Kill Butterfly Kill was a Cat 3 film, but it's not. It's from Taiwan, right? So
yeah, it's from Taiwan, and like every iteration of it predates the category 3 rating.
Oh, okay.
Which only comes into being, I think, like 89 or 90, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds right. Wow, I love it. And I think this is so I don't want to sound too academic with this, but I just want to call out, like, this is what I love having y'all on, and just I love generally that y'all are working together, and I love what you're doing, and I can't wait to see what Neon Eagle does. because like that story had so much, first of all, knowledge, but also passion in it that you just told, and it kind of like it bubbles out of you when you're talking about these releases. So it makes me very excited to see what you're gonna do if basically y'all are now running the playground and getting to decide what goes up there and what comes in. So Jesse, do you have a similar? I think you all mentioned that you had a similar project that you wanted to work on. Is that something that you're working? Can you talk at all about that, or do you need to keep it under wraps for now?
Well, we had something that was going to be a Cauldron release, and when we started discussing this with Jared, we decided just to make it a Neon Eagle. I don't know that we're quite ready to announce it, but it's a Japanese movie that has quite a reputation. I think a lot of people will be really happy to see it. It looks gorgeous. It's been restored in 4K. And
Great.
probably about all I'll say about it right now.
No, that's cool.
Just to chime in a bit about that, I have put out a few hints and clues about what it is, and I'll just say that there are a lot of good guesses out there right now.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of smart people out there.
It's a well-known 70s Japanese pinky film.
Awesome.
And I'll just say this, that we made contact with the studio that had it and then shared that with Jared and Pete, and they grabbed some stuff for the same studio for Mondo, which they've already released. So
yeah,
there we go.
People can do some math and figure it out.
See the Sherlock Holmes in the group here.
It'll be on Dawn of the Disc in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Leaking news. That's funny. Well, remember, this doesn't come out until January. So this is we're recording on December 14th for just for.
Oh, right. So it'll be
reference.
It'll be on Dawn of the Discs in 10 minutes in the future.
10 minutes from when this drops, exactly.
Yeah. As soon as he hears it, 10 minutes.
That's funny. Speaking of that, I guess might as well some kind of a segue that y'all are releasing the first title in March. Do you have a sense for? Is this going to be 1 to 2 titles a year for a while? Do you have a sense for kind of like what kind of volume are you trying to ramp up to?
It's very much a side thing.
Okay.
Because Cauldron I know has a lot of stuff sort of in the pipeline. And like I said, I've got my day job with Mondo Macabro, and that's eaten up a lot of time, as it should. That's my bread and butter. But so it's not going to be super prolific. I would guess probably at most, at like the furthest extreme that I can imagine, it would be 4 releases a year. But I think 3 is probably a good. Would you say, Jesse? That sounds probably.
I'd say that's probably about right.
Yeah.
Brian and I were actually talking about the Cauldron releases for 2023 just the other day, and of course, Neon Eagle came up a lot of where we're going to fit these things in, and I think that's about what we thought.
Yeah, I can say that at this point we have 5 projects.
Oh, cool.
That are in various stages. So Kill Butterfly Kill is the first. The Japanese movie will be next, and that's a lot of that is done. Brian probably still has, I don't know if he has any more work to do on the master, but I've got all the extras ready to go. So that's ready, and the cover's being worked on, the cover illustration.
Oh, it's so good. It looks great.
It does. It looks really good. We'll reveal that. That's our friend Justin Coffey, who
we love Justin.
Yeah, he's a good friend and a really talented artist. He's done a lot of Mondo stuff.
Okay.
And then he also just did Cauldron's Frankenstein 80 cover, which is spectacular.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's got boobs on the cover.
Yeah.
What cover? I just saw the boobs.
Yeah, they're boobs. They're on there.
No, that's a great cover.
Yeah, in fact, he put boobs on our and a butt or two on our haunted Turkish bathhouse cover.
Oh,
And
he did
I'm
like it. That's
convinced
actually
that
really
that is why that title sold pretty well for us, and is selling pretty well for us. Is yeah, you put the boobs, the kids will come.
the,
You know,
if history's taught us anything.
Yes.
I just watched that, and I'll plug Mondo a little bit. Man, I love that film. It's so crazy. The first part of it is so mean spirited, and then there's a cat monster, and it's just the last act is so bonkers. And I'm watching this. It's a good length. It's not too long. There's something happening. Every scene there's something going on that's so mean, and there's women running around with no clothes on, and then there's a cat monster.
And there's it really
great.
is. It's like 3 movies in one. And it's only like 80 minutes long. So that packs a lot of exploitation goodness.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. There's lots of bath scenes, lots of tough guy Yakuza stuff with lots of familiar faces. If you watch any of the like 70s Toei Yakuza movies, lots of familiar faces. Naomi Tani, excuse me, who most people would know from the Nikatsu Roman porno stuff. She's in the lead. She's naked. She's getting tied up. And in the end, there's a cat monster. A lady cat monster. A sexy, glittery lady cat monster.
I will admit that the thing that disturbed me most about the movie was the color of the bath water during the bath scenes. It is so odd. What is in that bath water? I don't even want to know.
It's just filth. It's just the filth of the 1970s in general.
Just washed off.
Yeah.
It's
all
something
from
else.
all the Roman porno movies just washed off into that tub.
I just pulled this up on IMDb, and it says brothel cum bathhouse. But the first thing I saw was cum bathhouse. And I'm like, where are they trying to get at here? Is that what's in the water? Awful.
That should be the
I'm working
tagline.
blue right now.
Yeah. Speaking of exploitation movies, any chance that we could all team up and go figure out the rights to Lady Terminator? And whoever is, I've heard that the rights there are difficult at best to pin down.
Rights might not be so difficult.
Oh, okay. What?
That's all I'll say.
Oh, fair enough.
What
maybe project.
about the materials of that one, Jared?
We'll find out.
Okay.
I can't really say anymore. I'll just say that there are possibilities in motion.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's
All right.
good news. We may not have to do it separately. Sounds like it might be in motion. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The last time we talked
Nothing
about
for
it.
sure. I can't say anything beyond that. Just people are talking. Things might happen at some point. Point.
No, that's fair. We'll just leave it at that. But that's positive progress from the last time we spoke, where it was effectively impossible. So, that's fantastic news. So before we put any more pressure on you for that, Neon Eagle. So what can you all walk me through the name a little bit? How did you land on that? Were there any other strong contenders?
Well, for one thing, if anyone's wondering, the name means absolutely nothing.
But what does it translate to in Mandarin? Because that's always the question.
I wish I knew. Honestly, the first thing that I wanted to call it was Guilo video.
Okay.
Do you know what that word Guilo means?
No, I don't.
It's a Cantonese slur for white person.
Nice.
yeah. It basically means white devil. So that was sort of my on the nose, sort of making fun of myself for being a white guy, trying to make money off of Asian cinema. Okay. But it is a slur. It's not a politically correct thing to say. So I decided not to go in that direction. Okay. There were a few things. I don't know. There's the term eagle, like I don't know. There are a lot of like kung fu movies, like, obviously like Snake and the Eagle's Shadow
Mhm.
and things like that. Eagle shooting heroes, like that's that sort of legendary um, kind of wuxia kung fu
Yeah,
series of
sure.
books and stuff. So that just, I think I kind of wanted something that sort of sounded like, seemed like it could be something associated with Asia or Asian films, but wasn't so on the nose. Um, and so Eagle popped in my mind, and I just went back and forth with something, the Eagle this or Eagle that. And just finally just sort of settled on Neon Eagle. It sounds, neon sort of 80s. We'll probably do a lot of movies from the 80s. And that's really the extent of it. There's really not any more thought than that. At the point where I came up with Neon Eagle, I said, "Okay, guys, are you okay with this?" And they were like, "Yeah, that's right. It's all right. Yeah, that works."
I like it though because the fact that it doesn't have like when you say Neon Eagle, it feels uh known, and then after you think about it, you realize that it doesn't, like, it's not a known phrase, but it feels like a phrase you should know. So I think it's a good name in that sense. Like
Oh,
it
that's
kind of
cool. I mean, yeah, that would be sort of something that I would want. And I think any sort of good name like that for a company should sort of give you that feeling,
yeah.
oh yeah, oh wait, what does that mean? But that
Yeah.
seems like something I knew already. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I think you got it right. Good instincts there. Um, and okay, so you're doing roughly 2 to 3 films a year, um, and you're still full time at your jobs. I wasn't going to ask that directly, but since it came up, that's good to know because I know that Jesse's going to be very keenly to see how this impacts Cauldron. Are you thinking about this in terms of there will be like Cauldron releases and then there will be a month where that month is Neon Eagle, or could they in theory overlap as well? It's just these are two separate projects.
Um, I mean, maybe Jesse might be a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of
Jesse,
overlapping right now with the idea was that, we released or announced a Cauldron title at the same time as the Neon Eagle, and they're kind of riding each other's coattails. I think that people were really excited for Frankenstein 80, and people were also excited for Kill Butterfly Kill. And we had a lot of people that were like, well, I don't know what this one is, but I'm going to buy them both. Which was the
Oh,
hope.
I'm sorry. You're right. They were this same month. In my mind, they were different months. I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. The
Yeah,
announcement was for both.
we announced it was on the same day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're right. That's
yeah, and I think that will be more or less the plan. Is that is that at least a Neon Eagle title will probably always go up with a Cauldron title. I could see maybe if we have if all the stars align, I suppose it's possible that there could be just a sort of like maybe 2 Neon Eagle titles ready at the same time. But probably not, just considering, just like I said, this is a side project for all of us, so I don't foresee that happening soon, but I guess it's possible. But I think for the most part, I mean, I think there's always wisdom in releasing, not putting something out just by itself, releasing 2 or 3 things together. Just because, I mean, why buy one thing for one price when you can buy 3 things for 3 prices? I mean, that's just sort of the weird wisdom of the collector, that, oh, I can just buy, like Jesse said, it was like, oh, I want this one, but I don't know what this one is, but it looks kind of cool. I can buy them together. Well, I'm going to do that because I can, so
that's kind of the hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is generally how it works. I mean, Jesse can speak to this because he's put a lot more things on sale at Diabolic and stuff over the years, but certainly with Mondo Macabro, when we started putting stuff up together as 2s and 3s, I mean, sales went up. Things sold better. The more things we put out, the more they would sell.
Oh yeah. I mean, I
Yeah, I think
just
that's true. I think people are more likely to take a chance on something they don't know if they're already ordering something they're going to order.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it was really interesting to hear. There's two versions of that I've heard recently. Mondo Macabro came up in a conversation I was having with Error 44 recently, because like they just tested out this bundle idea for their latest release. They did Red Spells Red, and Centipede Horror, and
Yeah.
they were testing out bundle ideas for that. And I think they put out like 8 bundles, and they were kind
Oh,
of laughing. They were like, I don't know, like we just thought it'd be cool to have like a shirt, and then one with like like, and they all sold out. Like so, the different slip variations and bundles and that, and they all sold out. And then the extreme example would probably someone like Severin, that'll have 200 of something that's like
Right.
$300 or whatever, and it sells
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Uh,
I doubt we'll ever get to that level. The that Severin level for Neon Eagle, or Mondo Macabre. Speaking for Mondo Macabre, that's not that's because I can tell you that just as possibly an aside, as you and a lot of your audience knows, we just had a Halloween sale and put up 3 pretty big new releases for
yeah.
sale. This is our biggest projects ever, and at this point, I want to die. At this point, I want to kill somebody, if not myself. It's been just horrible, and poor Pete, who has to do a lot of the technical work. It's just keeping him up at night. So we will likely never do anything this big again. So,
What's is it? The hard part is on the authoring side, and like on the technical side as far as the production, or on the other side of like getting the shipments together and like the logistics of getting them out, or
yes,
both.
yes.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, no, yeah. And like, because we're doing the box set and the Bollywood horror box set. All of you listening should go buy it right now at mondomacabro.bigcartel.com.
Are there any copies left?
That was a pretty sly little plug there.
Yeah.
But just we had never done one of these sort of sets before, so it was a complete learning curve. And we're doing like it'll be a hard case slip cover for the box, and getting the dimensions just right has been an absolute nightmare. For the cases and a book, there's going to be like an 80-page book that comes with it.
Wow.
And so we've gone through 2 printers trying to get dummy books made for it, so that they can get the dimensions for it. And it's just every possible problem that you can imagine. The Caligari project it's a UHD. That's the first time we've done that. So that's all a host of problems all its own. Yeah. So like that notion, that sort of Severin vinegar syndrome sort of model of putting a bunch of stuff up at a time. It's just not for me. Speaking only for myself, just I think I would prefer it just to do 2 or 3 projects at a time every couple of months.
Be able to get a little bit of sleep in every now and again.
Yeah.
I ordered the box set of that Error 4444 set, and it came in here. I'm looking at this like, oh my god, I can't even imagine ordering all these different things and putting them all together and making sure everybody got all the right things. I don't want to have anything to do with it.
It's beautiful though. I got it too. Yeah, and
it's so good.
And everything is great. And I watched Centipede Horror just this last Friday, and they did a great job. It looks really cool. The movie is a lot of fun. But I can only agree with Jesse. It's just how nightmarish. I mean, all the elements of putting it together. And I see people complaining about them taking a long time shipping it out. And it's just like, that is such a complicated thing, to all those different iterations of it. Like, give those guys a break.
Yeah, stop complaining, guys.
Yeah, like I know they're working hard to get all that out.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
people really should not give them a hard time. Because that is a complicated, I know how complicated that stuff is. Jesse really knows how complicated sending.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work. And I mean, you want it fast and wrong, or you want it right and a little
Exactly.
longer.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, just as like a 5-second aside, do you have a room full of Shawscape Volume 2, or have you gone through those? Have you shipped those out?
Did you see the pictures I posted about them?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all gone.
Okay.
I mean, thankfully, the post office was not happy. They wanted to come,
all media mail, please.
they wanted to pick them up from me on a Sunday morning. They're like,
oh, really?
No one's running a route, so I can send guys over on a Sunday to get them. And I was like, no, let's not do that, because I don't want to ask. I mean, I can come in, but I didn't want to ask other people to come in and help. I said it'd be best if we just did it on a Monday. And I told them how many there were and sent them a picture. And they sent not the smallest postal truck in existence, but pretty close.
Oh no.
And we stacked that truck. I mean, there was no room. They were in the driver's seat. They were in the driver's lap.
Oh my gosh.
There was no more, and it wasn't even half.
Shit.
It was crazy. But those are all gone. Thank God, they're gone.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Well, look, I mean, we kind of, we were talking a little bit Era 44, and we were talking about passion projects. And this is one thing that I just wanted to ask you all about here. I'm just, I think it's so fun. I've talked a little bit, Jared, with you about this when we were speaking, and then Jesse in slightly different contexts. We touched on this a little bit, but I think it's the fact that Neon Eagle can do well in 2023, which I know it will. I mean, it's already, like, people are already buzzing about it, and I know it's just going to continue when the pictures start popping up online about how beautiful these releases are. I love the fact that we're at this point where Kill Butterfly Kill can get a release like this. It seems like we're just in this really kind of sweet era right now, and I don't know if it was because of the pandemic, if that really like accelerated the home video market, but I know that DVDs aren't in every Target and Best Buy anymore and Walmart anymore, but I mean, this really feels like a boom. Are y'all seeing it from your side? Does it kind of feel like that a little bit from y'all's vantage point as well?
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty sure everybody saw increased sales through the pandemic up to now. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but it seems that way, because it certainly seems like production has gone up for just about everybody. Like, there's just more stuff coming out to the point where people are complaining that there's like too much stuff coming out.
There's so much stuff,
and there really is. And like, even as just a collector myself, I have to be more choosy about what I'm getting. But certainly there's, like, what you said, like, that something like Kill Butterfly Kill can get this sort of release. And this is an obscure movie. This is not something that, I signed hoping, like, oh man, this is a cash cow. People were waiting for this one. Not at all. I just really liked it. I just, I was able to get a contact at IFD Films, and they seemed like they were, they had 4K, they had a bunch of stuff. They had, 4K masters of a bunch of stuff. And I was just sort of going through, and I found this movie, and I hadn't seen it before I started looking at their lists. I watched it online. I got a copy of it from them online, of the original Taiwanese version, and just loved it. So, I mean, it is just sort of this passion project thing that just sort of all fell into place. And it is a marvel that something like this can come out. And this is there's 2 Blu-rays in this set, like a double disc set of this incredibly obscure Taiwanese Hong Kong movie. Like, I mean, even 5 years ago, I wonder would that have even been thinkable? Like, I don't know if it would have been. And and it's got a beautiful slip cover, and it'll have a booklet and maybe even some art cards. It's deluxe, man. It's really deluxe. Again, of a movie like hardly anyone is going to have heard of. So I mean, I think it's going to work out okay. We'll see, but I am happy that we are able to that the market is in the place that we are able to do something like that, because that is what I am excited to do. I'm excited to go a little bit deeper and find weird things that haven't been released 100,000 times,
Yeah, right.
So it's exciting. My worry on the other side of that is that we're adding to the glut of too much stuff, and now there's like 3 or 4 at least companies now that have all come up since I came up with the idea of Neon Eagle that are all Asian focused. And so that worries me. It's the other side of it is it worries me that, oh my God, is there too much stuff out there? And when it comes to Asian movies, I don't think so. I want it all. So I hope enough other people think that as well.
Me too. Well, I personally love Mondo Macabro's label. I like the curation of that label. I like the amount of titles that come out of year. I can keep those in my collection. I can keep up with them. So, that's an ideal model for me, is Mondo Macabro.
Yeah, and I can say it's a mutual admiration society for sure, because I think Cauldron has that same spirit where it's every release does feel curated and loved, and it's beautiful, and it comes in a beautiful package, and because I have an inside connection, I can get all of them. It's pretty easy. So it's easy for me to do, but I want to have all of them. I want that complete Cauldron collection.
Yeah, I second both of those. I think what Macondo puts out is amazing. We talked about this idea of y'all are the ones going into the jungle and kind of forging paths for people a lot of times, and that that's it just continues to be true. So I love it. And Cauldron, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, Jesse, but the releases you continue to put out they look amazing. I mean, the cover art for Convoy Busters and Shanghai Joe is world class. I don't know if you're using well-established graphics artist. I'm assuming you are, but it's really good.
Well, the Justin Miller, who goes by the name Haunt Love and does stuff for Severin and Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow, is a local guy to me and somebody that I've known for years. So he did Convoy Busters for us. And Shanghai Joe is the is original art from the movie, but Brian from Cauldron is the person that puts all those things together. He does the actual slip design and cover design. He's doing all the graphic design, as well as restoring these movies.
Which is why he couldn't be here today.
Yes, yeah, it's exactly why, because we announced we announced The City of the Living Dead coming out on Friday. Well, not coming out, but we're going to do a pre-order for it. And again, this is in the past because the podcast is in the future. But so he's busy working.
Congratulations on that selling out in like 2 hours, Jesse. That's amazing.
Yeah. We announced that it went on sale this coming Friday. And it's on the site as sold out because that's the way Shopify lists it. And I had people angry that it was sold out already when it didn't go on sale until Friday.
Yeah, I saw those comments online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really funny. Yeah, I'm waiting for that. That'll be an instant purchase. But um, uh, there. Oh shoot, there was one thing I wanted to ask from that, kind of a pull take off from that. Oh, you talked about you're worried about there being a glut. I think the other thing that's happened, which it's been interesting to see just as a buyer, is it feels like labels are getting smarter, and in this case, y'all are getting smarter about that feeling about how many copies to put out, right? Because it's not like you're just saying now Kill Butterfly Kill is out, right? It's like there's 1,500 copies as a slipcover. Like there's an intelligence behind it, which I think wasn't always there, but it seems to be, whatever this boom is or whatever we want to call it that we're in now. It feels like people are also smarter about getting a sense of how many you're going to sell and kind of what it takes to at least make the money back on it.
It's a tough call. It's something that Pete and I, with Mondo Macabro, go back and forth on all the time. I mean, and you say we're smart about it, but I mean, we've made some errors in that call, in that judgment, in the last year. I think Haunted Turkish Bathhouse, which we were talking about earlier, is probably the prime example in my mind right now. We did 1,200 of those, and that sold out in like 2 days.
Wow.
Awesome. And again, sort of like Kill Butterfly Kill, that's a completely obscure movie. Like, it has a bit of a reputation online before we did it, but not a huge one. So that was something that we were, and at the same time we did In the Folds of the Flesh, which is a great Spanish giallo, really wacky movie. Severin put it out on DVD back in the day. We did 1,500 copies of that one, and that took like 3 months to sell out.
Oh, interesting.
So, I mean, it's difficult to know exactly. I mean, sometimes you get it right, and sometimes, ideally, those numbers should have been reversed. We probably should have done 1,500 haunted Turkish bathhouses, and that would have lasted probably 2 or 3 weeks, and we probably would have sold out 1,200 of In the Folds of the Flesh in about the same time.
Yeah.
So it is a tough call. I mean, I thank you for, I'll take the compliment that you think I'm so smart, but it really is a difficult thing.
If I had to make that decision, I'd go hard on In the Folds of the Flesh. I would have said, oh, it's the Euro horror movie is going to outsell Turkish Bathhouse any day of the week.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, and that was totally our mindset. That it's a more well-known movie. It's a Spanish horror film. It's a giallo. It's wacky. It's got lots of recognizable Euro cult faces. Money in the bank, right? And to a certain degree, I mean, it's not done badly by any means. But
not 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, it just there was this. And again, I think maybe a lot of it was Justin's fantastic artwork for Haunted Turkish Bathhouse. But, so it just grabbed people's attention, it's hard to tell, honestly. It really is.
I'm honestly stunned. You were joking earlier, or not, I mean, not joking, but you're kind of joking about, getting a plugin for Bollywood horror. I just went to your site. I would have assumed that would have been sold out by now.
Well, there's 3,000 of them. So
take a little bit longer.
that is by far the biggest, and that was just because we are doing these hard case boxes, and you need to sort of do a run that big.
Have to.
In order to, yeah. So we needed to do that many, and so that's it's still all in the production phase, and so just as an aside, that's my next big keeping me up at night is just, where the hell am I going to put all of those? So,
just send them here, Jared. I'll take them.
Yeah,
just send them right here. I've got room in the warehouse for them.
Oh, sure, okay. And you can mail them out for me too, right? That's no problem.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, that's what's going to happen.
I honestly do. I have nightmares thinking about Vinegar Syndrome's warehouse. because they do these big production runs of these titles limited to 10,000 copies.
Yeah.
Where are all these things?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. God. I don't know. You're both on the East Coast, Jesse. I mean, have you ever been to their facility or anything?
I've been to the archive, to their store,
To the store. Okay.
but I didn't. It was a Sunday, so I didn't go in and get a tour of the warehouse.
No. Okay. Yeah. Cause I've been curious about that too, about how big is their facility? Because it is, I mean, they did, 10,000 Thriller or Cruel Pictures and sold out in a few days or whatever. I mean,
And that thing's huge.
that thing is huge.
And heavy.
So where do they,
Yeah.
I honestly like that. I've thought about that before because they have the OCN stuff as well. It's all coming out of the same center. So, I mean, they just have every month they just have, I don't know.
I guess it helps for them because they have two, because they have a distribution center in Colorado now.
That's a good point. Yeah. So they do maybe
Oh,
half
yeah,
an hour.
you're right.
Maybe they
forgot
have a
about that.
place in Canada as well, don't they? Don't they have?
Does-
I don't know
is that
why in
still
a
happening? I don't
podcast
know.
about Neon Eagle we're talking about vinegar.
Well, there's room at the party for everybody.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I think
of
we're
course.
talking about home video here.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's
And
the
we're
thing.
fans. We're fans of all of them.
Yeah, the collector market is there. This is where people are buying from. I mean, I think, just as a, while before we move too much on from the Bollywood horror set, I have seen Mahakal, and I know it doesn't technically count, but the one with the very first Massacre video release, which was, I always forget the name, but
The Nightmare on
has-
Elm Street one is.
no, that's Mahakal, I think.
Oh, right,
And then-
right.
And then the first one they put out was oh shoot, it has the metal kind of song in the middle of it. And anyways, those are the two Indian horror films I've seen.
I
And
didn't. So wait, Massacre has done another Indian horror film?
well, it's technically, it has American actors in it, but it's directed and produced from out of India, and so I think they made it in the U.S. Hack-O-Lantern. Sorry, there we go. It took me a second.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about. Yes. Yeah.
But
Which
Indian,
it couldn't be more American in the way that movie.
totally no.
Yeah.
Wait,
totally.
that's not a regional Midwest horror movie?
I think the
actually did not
director
know
is
that.
Indian. Is that Mahundra
Yeah,
or something like
yeah,
that?
exactly. And producer and director are all from India, kind of
Right,
horror royalty
right.
or whatever. Maybe it was their entry point to I don't know the whole history there, but I just bring it up to say that the two I've seen are awesome, and I cannot wait to see the movies. This was a day one purchase for me because you had hinted that y'all were working on your first box set when we spoke, and so when I saw that it was Bollywood horror, I was very excited, and I hope everybody gets excited because these movies are awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited. These are really fun movies. I think I see a little bit of pushback online about it. Oh, did they have song and dance numbers? Oh, they do. I don't want to watch that. That's silly. I mean, come on. There really is fun. It's not like an American musical. And it's a very different musical idiom. I actually quite enjoy the music in Indian masala films. It's just great. There's just great fun. They go off on all these tangents, and sometimes the only parts that kind of are a little bit wonky is there's some like comedy subplots in them, and that can be a little. Comedy is such a culturally subjective thing. That can be a little bit hard but I think just overall they're just about the most fun you can have sitting in front of your TV set. I mean, they really are. It's just fun. They're not great art. It's just good fun.
Totally agree.
It's just fun.
It is.
Yeah.
They really are.
And it's everybody's favorite film at some point, right? Not that it needs to be stated, but I love talking to y'all. It's the passion as collectors comes out, which is why you're so comfortable to go across onto tangents about the different labels and films.
Yeah.
And I hope.
Well, I can tell you, I just as an aside, this is what it's actually like when Jesse and Brian and I talk, or when Pete and I talk. We end up just talking. There's lots of gossip and lots of talk about other things. Hopefully I'm not giving too much away about what goes on behind the scenes about that. we
No,
talk about each we all talk about each other a lot.
I'm
And-
sending
and-
you an angry message right now.
I mean, and you all know each other too, right? Which is kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, look, I hope that Neon Eagle sells extremely well. I'm confident it will. And let's come back in a year, 18 months, whatever, when it makes sense, and just kind of see how the journey is going. I just wanted this to come out and try to raise awareness so people can get on in the pre-order before it sells out, because I know once it goes live, I'm sure it'll sell out if it hasn't already. But yeah, I just thank you all for coming and making the time for this.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. It's been my pleasure.